Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the grit of Nelson Algren's The Man with the Golden Arm, a true masterpiece of post-war despair.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, well, it's about understanding the novel itself, the addiction, the guilt, that whole Chicago underbelly, but also, crucially, how Algren's own life kind of mirrored that same raw exploitation he wrote about.
Yeah, that's a key point. His heroes get chewed up by the system, right?
Exactly. And the irony is, Algren himself felt that way.
Right. Before we even touch the characters, think about Algren. The Frank Sinatra movie adaptation,
Yeah.
huge success, made tons of money.
Massive amounts.
And Algren, he got, and this is just stunning, not a scrap of the profits, nothing.
It's perfectly Algren-esque, isn't it? The artist being exploited just like his characters. That whole experience is why he called himself so bitterly the penny whistle of American literature.
Oof, what a line.
Hmm.
It really tells you something about the bitterness that fuels the book.
Definitely. And, it wasn't like he was completely ignored by the literary world, but he did seem to feel a bit overshadowed sometimes. He admired how Capote modernized in Cold Blood, maybe felt his own style was stuck.
Stuck in that Great Depression voice, maybe?
Sort of, yeah. But the people who knew, they knew his talent. Salman Rushdie, for instance, said Algren's review of Midnight's Children was the smartest one he got.
That's high praise.
And Studs Terkel, Studs Terkel,
For
he called Algren maybe the funniest man around. But then he immediately added, in Algren's world, being the funniest meant you were actually the most serious.
that seriousness, that unflinching eye.
Yeah.
That's why we connect with Frankie Machine, the main character.
Frankie, he's the heart of it all, isn't he? On Division Street, they know him as Frankie Machine.
Or sometimes Automatic Machine.
Right, the old-timers called him that. And that name, Automatic, kind of hints at the tragedy.
Let's unpack that. He's got the golden arm, incredible card dealer, lightning fast hands. That's his skill, his potential way out,
His talent. But then there's Automatic Machinek.
which points to.
Well, it's the irony, isn't it? The golden arm, his great gift, also makes him vulnerable. The automatic part, that's the addiction, the mechanical need. He came back from the war, a hero even.
Purple Heart veteran.
Yeah. But his real fight wasn't overseas. It started with a GI syringe of morphine.
That's where the monkey climbs on.
35-pound monkey on his back, yeah. That's how Algren puts it. It started during his service. There's that dream he has of Private McGantic just crushed under this weight and seeing that morphine syringe melting. That's the start.
And the cost is just brutal. Louis, his fixer, says he's already a $20 a day to him, and that's a fortune back then.
Devastating. And the details Algren gives, where Frankie keeps his stash.
Yeah.
It's not hidden away carefully. It's just tossed in an old duffel bag, next to a rusting German sword from the war, another souvenir, like the habit itself.
So the monkey isn't just physical craving, is it? It's psychological, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's this weight, this constant need, but also guilt. What's fascinating is how Frankie sees it as separate, like something else riding him. But it controls everything. It makes him automatic, strips his agency.
And that automatic existence is sort of locked in place by the two main women in his life.
Yep.
Let's start with Zosh, Sophie, his wife.
Zosh, right. She's the trap, both physical and emotional. Stuck in that wheelchair because Frankie drove drunk, crashed into a light standard.
And she calls it the blessed, cursed, wonderful, terrible, God's own accident. That's chilling.
Because it gives her total leverage, She turns it into this tool for manipulation.
How so?
She tells him straight up, God punished you. Always be nice after this for what you've done. She weaponizes her situation constantly. And it gets darker.
The scrapbook.
Yeah, the scrapbook of fatal accidents. She fills it with these gruesome newspaper clippings of accidents. And the source notes, she even drew a skull and crossbones next to the story of their crash. Gives Frankie chicken flesh, it says. Just pure suffocating control.
And there's that detail. She can't reach up to dust a shelf, but she can always reach her bottle of whiskey.
Exactly. She's trapped, yes, but she chooses how to use that trap. Demands total submission. She's his guilt, walking while rolling.
But then there's Molly Novotny, a completely different energy.
Malio, yeah. The bar hostess. Algren describes her as having a heart you can walk in and out of with boots on.
I love that description. Tough, but open, honest.
She represents potential redemption, maybe? She's got her own troubles on Division Street, an abusive husband, but she tries to help Frankie. Helps him try to kick the habit just using codeine. And she encourages his drumming.
Ah, the drumming.
Yeah.
Using those golden arms for something else, something creative.
Exactly, for rhythm, not hustling. And the relationship feels different. Frankie himself admits it's nearer 50-50, give and take, real connection.
Which is the total opposite of Zosha's demand.
Right, but Frankie's story isn't just about these two women, it's the whole environment. Division Street itself, this hustler's territory.
Where the cops and the crooks are kind of hard to tell apart sometimes.
Definitely. Look at Sparrow, Solly Saltskin, Frankie Steerer, the small-time punk, always trying to go straight but failing.
And he's got that theory right,
Yeah.
that a hustler is...
A businessman who went broke.
Yeah. Deeply cynical, but maybe not entirely wrong in that world. He sees himself as just a capitalist without the capital.
And the actual law seems to back him up. Sergeant Kavorka.
Everybody's cousin for a double saw, meaning $50, running protection rackets, just another hustler with a badge.
And Captain Bednar, record head.
Record head runs the police lineup. Algren calls it a plastic zoo, just brutal, and calls the whole system Chicago justice, deaf, dumb, blind, and falling apart. It's not just broken, it's a performance, a cynical show.
It really feels rigged top to bottom. Even the landlords, the fixers.
They're all part of it. Schwabatsky, the landlord they call the jailer, obsessed with control, and his son, Peter, planting paper daisies in the stair cracks. It's this weird, pathetic attempt at beauty in the decay.
And Zygmunt, the prospector, the
Wow.
lawyer. Oh, Zygmunt's incredible. A perfect piece of dark satire. Ambulance chaser extraordinaire.
He worked all the angles.
Didn't he just? Hustled both sides of the street, the churches as well as the hospitals. Always making sure his ledger stayed slightly in heaven's favor. Profiting from misery, but, keeping his spiritual books balanced.
And we can't leave out Louis Formarowski, the fixer. He actually kicked his habit, didn't he? A huge one.
Louis' story is so tragic. He did kick it, but the source mentions he once knocked out his own tooth for a fix. That level of desperation.
Unimaginable.
And yeah, he got clean, but Algren writes something got twisted in his brain during the withdrawal. He survived the habit, but something broke inside.
And then Frankie kills him.
Which leads us to the end game. Frankie, high, enraged, kills Louis, and the terrible irony. For a moment, killing Louis makes him feel like he finally shook the monkey.
The craving disappears.
Temporarily, replaced by sheer panic, the need to run from the cops.
So he's hunted, gets desperate, tries to steal some irons.
6 irons from Neiboltz, gets caught again. And in jail, he finds this weird kind of peace.
He calls it Iron Sanctuary.
Yeah. Thinks he can finally kick the habit for good in there. Safe inside the system, not outside it. But it's an illusion.
Because as soon as he's out,
It comes right back. The monkey returns instantly. The sanctuary wasn't real. And the downward spiral is just terrifyingly quick after that.
leading to that final scene in the flockhouse.
He hangs himself, uses newspaper twine, trying to escape everything, the habit, the guilt, the cops, Division Street, just escape. The ultimate defeat, you could say.
But even after that, there are these final acts of loyalty, deception. Molly O at the coroner's inquest.
She protects him, doesn't she? Lies right to the coroner. Says his only bad habit was drinking. Swears he never talked about suicide. It's her last act of love, maybe. Protecting his name, however broken it was.
And then you contrast that with Zosh.
Zosha ends up exactly where she metaphorically was, all along trapped. In a mental institution, rocking back and forth, counting cards. By color and whim, it says, dreaming of a magic skate to escape.
Counting cards. Like Frankie's world?
Exactly. And whispering that final line, the thing that defined her self-made prison, Francis Michinick, we got married in church. Still clinging to that control, that claim.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've seen exploitation on every level. Economic, with Algren's own penny whistle status. Personal, with Zosha's manipulation. Systemic, with the cops and the plastic zoo.
And Frankie's whole struggle was about finding freedom from that monkey, that weight. He had moments, right, with the drumming, with Molly's honesty, but ultimately the fixes, the drugs, the guilt, the dependency they won. Algren really shows that nothing takes the place of junk, whether it's morphine or just need.
Algren's world really drives home that the biggest traps aren't always physical cells. They're the ones we carry inside, emotional, chemical. Which leaves us with a thought, maybe. Was Frankie's final act just defeat? Or was that desperate move the only way the golden arm, the automatic man, could finally find his own kind of iron sanctuary, the only real escape from that relentless hustler's territory that consumed his life?